Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that whenever and wherever you are in this moment when you're listening to this recording, that you are able to assess accurately what's going on around you and determine whether or not you could just burst out laughing because life is a big grand cosmic joke. And there's so many funny things around if you keep your ears peeled and your eyes peeled. I had a weird night, such a weird night. In fact, for about roughly 3 hours, my son and I have been trying to unravel what the hell happened tonight. It was so weird. In the beginning of the afternoon, right after I woke up, I got a text from my friends, Patty and Jordan, and they were trying to see if we would go meet them downtown at 8 o'clock to see what they believed to be a John Lennon tribute band. And we said, yeah, absolutely. And it was supposed to be at the new cathedral, which is about 400 years old. Turned out to be at the old cathedral, which is 500 something years old. This is what happens when you live in a World Heritage Site. I mean, Cuenca, Ecuador, it's gorgeous. With these super old, like the new cathedral is made from pink marble. It is like a gorgeous church. There's sidewalks in front of that place. The cathedral the sidewalks are marble, pink, and I don't know what color, kind of a reddish rust color mix of pink marble. It's gorgeous, so gorgeous. But I was getting ready for the evening and someone had texted me, so I sat down on my bed for a moment and I looked up. And I have these necklaces that I was going to wear tonight hanging from my my wardrobe at about 4 feet off the ground. And it's just like the handle to the door. I kind of put how you hang a necklace, And I hung them both up. And like weeks and weeks ago, they were hanging there for weeks. And I left the room. I sat here and I was texting my friend. I sat and I looked and I thought, I'm going to wear those tonight. That's going to match, they're both turquoise, and what I'm going to wear tonight is black and turquoise. So I thought that. I got up and I went to talk to my son, and I came back in my room, and one of my necklaces was on my drawer handle below the wardrobe part, tied in 2 different ways to the drawer, 1 foot off the ground. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I must have dropped it. And I went to just grab it thinking it'd be easy. And I had to unravel it. And it was around the edge of the handle, and then in the center of the handle, it was tied in a, if you're familiar with macrame of the 1970s fame, it was tied in a lark's head knot. It's a very specific kind of knot. My stepmom taught me macrame when I was 12 years old, so I've never forgotten that because it was such a weird thing, a lark's head knot. So it's a very specific type of knot. Well, if you drop a necklace, it's not going to tie itself into a lark's head knot and then ravel itself around the edge, right? But no one was in my room. The only person in the apartment was my son, besides myself, and he was in the living room. He had just gotten home. I saw the necklace, went into the living room for like 1 minute, came back, and it was tied. And no one else was in the room, obviously, doors locked, and no one has access. It was one of the freakiest things, and it was the necklace specifically that I thought, I'm wearing that tonight. And I unraveled it and I put it on, and that drawer, I had opened it to get one of my shirts out, and I didn't close it because I was sitting here going, what? I was like, what the hell happened? So I sat down on my bed, and as I'm looking at the drawer, trying to figure out what happened, I saw the shadow of a little creature that was about, 6 feet. 6 feet. No, 6 inches tall. Like not very, like the size of my hand. Maybe slightly bigger. And it looked like it had long pointed ears. But I just saw it was like a black shadow. And then it burrowed itself underneath my clothes. And then my clothes started moving around in my drawer. But it wasn't like, we don't have mice here, we don't have rats here, we don't have any creatures at all except the occasional silverfish, and outside our windows we have pigeons, right? And the silverfish and pigeons can't tie a necklace into a knot on your drawer handle. So I just went back in and I told my son, and he came and he looked, he's like, oh my God, what the hell? That's really freaky, Mom. And he goes, I think it was my duende. And we have a doll that we bought that is called a duende, and that means like fairy in Spanish, or maybe in Quechua. And the duende, we bought it in Quito, and we've been loving it. And you're supposed to charge your duende in the moonlight during a full moon, which we did. And now that it's all charged up, it's doing things in our house. So I'm kind of excited to see what it's going to do next. I hung another necklace up there thinking it might like it. I wanted to see what would happen, and the necklace is still there, so it didn't like that necklace apparently. It liked my other necklace, which is a moonstone. So that might be telling. So there's that. And now the other thing. Okay, so we go down to the new cathedral. And there's not a single person in sight. The new cathedral is closed and locked up, and everything's dark. And we're standing there in the marble hallway, which is right outside the church, going in. As we're talking, our voices are echoing. It was like so spooky. Cold out, spooky October. And we're like, where's the concert supposed to be? And so we called our friends. They said, oh, it's actually at the new cathedral. We said old accidentally. All right. So we went to the old cathedral, and we get there, and there's a picture of John Lennon, and then says a tribute to John Lennon and Giuseppe Verdi. And we're like, what? How do these people have anything in common? This is so crazy. So we're like, okay, fine. And we get in and they say, this is a free concert, but you can make a donation now. And we felt really pressured. I'm like, well, all I have is 20. Do you have change? And she said, yeah, sure. So I give her 20 and she gives me $15 back. And I'm all, so do you have an extra $5, you know? So I need to make change to the taxi later. So I need 5 ones too. And she's like, okay. And she looked all weirded out and disappointed. And then I gave her $2. I'm thinking, well, $1 each. It's a free concert. I'm donating $1 each. And if it's better, then I imagine it's going to be, I'll give them more money at the end, right? You know, I think that's only fair. And I'm like, I don't have a whole lot to spare anyway. And I expected to spend zero money. So, all right, whatever. I'm kind of being a little bit of a cheapskate. But at the same time, it's like, why are you all this pressure? It was ridiculous. So I get inside and I'm not even inside for like 5 seconds when this little boy, super adorable little boy with these round glasses. I mean, he looked almost like a cartoon. He was so adorable. And he was like, my friend is selling his art. I'm like, oh, okay, good for your friend. Or I'm looking for my friend. And, you know, and he's like, but it's right over here. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, maybe I'll look at it later. And I'm thinking, well, I went to a free concert. Why is there like an art gallery in a church? Like, it was so ridiculous. I'm like, okay. So I looked at the art for like 5 seconds and there was like 20 paintings and they were like white with black lines on the page. I didn't register anything except for one was an eagle head without the rest of the eagle body. And then later I noticed that one of them was what looked to be like an extremely angry ocelot head. It was really good art, but it was so crazy because the ocelot looked so angry. I'm like, why would I want to put an angry animal head in my house? But all right, well, you know, okay, whatever. But it was, you know, I saw like 20 canvases and I couldn't register what they even were. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me because I haven't left the house in 2 weeks because of the riots, you know. I felt really weird and really altered, you know. And so we get to a little bit farther into the church and my friend Jordan came and met us. And he's like, hey, look at this. I want you guys to see this thing over here. And there's a baptismal font that's like 500 years old. It was like crazy. And I put my hands on it and I was looking into it. And all of a sudden, I closed my eyes for a second and I saw all of the different priests and all the families standing around and all the babies being baptized in the water. And I could hear the splashing of the water and I could feel how cold it was. And I could hear the babies crying and I could see them, all of them, all at once, just flash, boom, 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 boom. And I saw it and I had to stop touching it because it was like too much. I felt all this like, wow, it was just so powerful. I saw all the baptisms. And so we decided we were going to go sit down. Patty was saving our seats, so we said hi to her and we sat down and the concert was going to start. And we were sitting here going, now what does Giuseppe Verdi and John Lennon have in common? This is so crazy. So they said they're two men. They had the idea because there was two men that fought for peace in their nations and they wanted nothing more than peace, and they were peace activists. And then halfway through the program, some guy called them peace pacifists. And then at the end of his speech, he said that they had to fight for peace, which is the opposite of the word pacifist. So, and he was like a professor in a college or something. That was super awkward and weird. And then, but in the beginning, what I just played for you, this aria, whatever, the lady who was apparently she was a famous opera singer in the United States, now retired and living here in Cuenca. You may or may not recognize her voice. And she sang a bunch of songs like that. But I think that she said it was called Giselle, which is not that song, I don't think. I don't think that there's a song named Giselle. I couldn't find it when I looked it up. So that was super confusing, and I'm thinking that maybe Verity wrote that, but I'm not sure. I think he did. It made sense if he did. And then she sang Yesterday by John Lennon in an opera, very slow, crazy opera style. And there was somebody playing the piano, which we thought for about 3 songs this person was a man, but he had long, long gray hair. And then at the end of like the 4th or 5th song that she sang, all of a sudden the other person sang with a woman's voice. And we were like, whoa, he sounds like a woman. And then we're like, wait, he is a woman. Oh, she's a woman? And she was dressed kind of like a hippie with this kind of like a red corduroy jacket. That the clothes of people were super confusing. Then there was some woman running around the church the whole time taking pictures of, she was like at the very front, but she'd go to the very back of the church to take pictures of them with her cell phone. And then she like go behind pillars to take pictures of the front where things were in front of her. And then she would act frustrated when things were in front of her. There's like so many things going on tonight that was so freaking confusing. And we're like, was everybody at this place like high as hell? Were they all just high? Were they all just on drugs? Like, it was so confusing. It was like I came to hear a John Lennon tribute band thinking we're going to have rock and roll in the old church, which is pretty cool. And we're going to maybe get to dance. And instead we're all sitting in these chairs. They were folding chairs, which is also confusing. How come there's not pews in a church? So we were sitting in these chairs and we were watching this opera singer who was amazing, but I was not connecting to her music at all. And I thought, well, I probably should be connecting to her. Like, I should be touched on a heart level by her music, right? It's opera. People cry at operas, right? And I just couldn't get into it. And then she sang Yesterday like opera. And I just was confused as hell. And it kept going on and on, like all these things. And then all of a sudden she got off the stage and more people came on stage. I'm like, well, I thought this was Carolyn Kennedy is her name. And I'm like, well, Carolyn Kennedy was supposed to sing, right? But wait a minute, maybe, like, it was like nothing was explained. So then all of a sudden, I don't know, someone else got on stage and spoke a bunch of things that just literally held no fascination for me. And then this guy gets on stage and they announced in Spanish that he is a surgeon in Cuenca. Everybody started going, woohoo, and like, you know, clapping and carrying on. And then he played Yesterday on his saxophone, but it felt like he didn't realize that saxophones could be tuned right. And it was completely off key and crazy, and it made no freaking sense. And I kept looking at my son going, I know that I'm not really good at music, but that's like really off key, isn't it? And my son's like, yeah, that's like really, really, really bad. And people were like hooting and hollering and shouting and clapping for this guy. And he just sounded like a 3rd grade concert, like a pageant that an 8-year-old would have done. It was like crazy. And he was like wearing a t-shirt and a gray hoodie. I didn't even know he was a surgeon until like a couple hours after I got home. My son's like, that guy was a surgeon. I'm like, you mean the guy wearing the shorts and the hoodie and the green t-shirt that played the saxophone? The guy with the long ponytail, that guy? And my son's like, yeah, well, dude, I thought that he was like a homeless dude off the street they let play in the concert. So it was just like so strange. And then they had more people come and sing different songs, and some of the songs were John Lennon and some were Verdi, and then some had nothing to do with those people at all. And then some random lady, like, I don't know, over halfway into the program, suddenly started to MC the whole evening, even though she was on stage at all before. And she says, so, I guess she said that John Lennon had a birthday on October 10th, and Verdi had a birthday on October 9th, and I'm thinking, A, that was a week ago. Why didn't we have the concert then? Oh, wait, the riots probably. Actually, maybe it was because of the riots. But then I was thinking, but then B, is that the only thing these guys have in common? Because their music is nothing like each other. And they're trying to take John Lennon's music and Verdi's music and combine it and mix it and mash it, and then also making it like an opera aria type. It was the most confusing freaking night. I'm still confused. Like, we feel kind of altered, like maybe they altered our mind or swiped our DNA or something. I don't know what happened. We're still confused. And then the lady says, so because they had a birthday a week ago, we're wondering if anyone here had a birthday. You know, if anyone's birthday is tonight. And my son's birthday is on Friday. I'm like, you could tell them your birthday's on Friday. And he's like, no, I don't think so. And then two people stood up, and a woman and a man, and they didn't really tell anybody what their names were, but they said, it's our birthday. And they said, okay, why don't you guys stand up? And they stood up and they said, hey, everyone, this is, you know, these people have a birthday tonight. So we all clapped. And she said, how come we don't, or why don't we all stand up and sing happy birthday? And so we did, and we didn't know their names. And well, this is the result of that. Random person. We were all so confused. Everybody sang a completely different name, and I was just like, random person. I mean, so that was like in the middle of the show, and then some professor got up and started talking about Austrian politics for some reason, and then mentioned London for some reason, and we were all pretty confused. He talked about Giuseppe Verdi for a minute, and then, I don't know, I don't know that we understood him, or he was just himself confused. The whole night was weird. Like, this man that was playing the piano started singing. We realized he was really a woman. Just all this stuff was weird. It was just outrageously weird. And then at the end, this woman gets on stage, and she had like 20 or 30 years on Broadway in New York on the set of Cats. And she sang, and we were like, oh my God. And I could barely see her. I mean, we were in almost the very back of this church. And I have pictures. I'll put it on Instagram eventually, so you guys could see. But we were seeing her, and she just had this booming, amazing voice. So we listened to her, and right before the second half of the show starts, I'll put a clip of her singing. But she starts singing Aquarius. Let the Sun Shine In, Aquarius, Age of Aquarius, sung by the group Fifth Dimension, which I think is extremely appropriate right now at this time, at this juncture of humanity, but still, again, had absolutely nothing to do with John Lennon or Giuseppe Verdi. It was written by a Galt MacDermott, who may be actually related to my kids, because from their father's side, they come from the McDermotts in Ireland, but Mac is Scottish, so I don't know. But anyway, I mean, I was like, I love this song. It's one of my favorite songs. And then she sang another song that was, I think the Rolling Stones or Aerosmith. Again, had nothing to do with John Lennon. Again, had nothing to do with... So it was just insane. And then this guy gets... Before she came on, this guy says, another guy, and he played amazing, fantastic, and he's saying Working Class Hero by John Lennon. He knew what was happening. But he said, before he got on stage, he had the lady MC, and she said a bunch of stuff about what he was going to say. Then he got on stage and said the same stuff that she just said. And then they translated everything into English and then Spanish, or Spanish and then English. It was like 10 minutes of just conversation, and we're supposed to be at a concert. So we were like, what is happening? And then she says, okay, he asked for a moment of silence in Spanish, and then she asked for a moment of silence in English. And right when we're all about to take a deep breath and share a moment of silence, she'd like wait 2 or 3 seconds and then start talking again. And then we would start our silence again. And like 3 or 4 times she interrupted our silence with saying something else. And then when we're just about ready to finally do the moment of silence, she said, so let's all stand up for a minute. And then everybody stood up, which made a whole bunch of noise, which defeated the purpose of the moment of silence. And then our minute of silence, was supposed to be a full minute, was about 35 seconds. And then everybody sat down when she said, okay, that's enough. And we all sat down. And then he said, thank you. And everyone sat down except for this one super old man. And I said to my friend Jordan, I don't think he got the memo. It's time to sit down yet. And he started laughing. Patty started laughing. My son started laughing. We were hysterically laughing, trying not to laugh. But it was like the most insane night. It was completely insane. And when I got home, though, I was like, I recognize this woman's voice. I think I know who she is. So I look up Memory, the song Memory from Cats. I think that who was on stage tonight was Elaine Page. I'm going to play her voice singing a couple clips, and if you think it's Elaine Page, let me know. I'm gonna where she's singing the Aquarius, when the moon is in the 7th house, when Jupiter aligns with Mars, yada yada. So, but I really think that it's Elaine Page. I'm like, oh my God, she lives in Cuenca. She retired here. I freaking love her. When my kids were very, very, very little, I joined a couple movie clubs. I joined, where you could buy the DVDs. And I joined the Disney one, so they'd have their Disney movies. And then I joined another one. And in the other one, I bought Cats, because I wanted my kids to have theater, and I wanted them to understand culture in a different, I've been, since they're very little, I've been playing them like opera and theater and everything. And when my son, when they were both little, they watched this, but when my youngest watched her sing Memory, it brought tears to his eyes. And I knew he had such a big heart, even when he was like 2 years old. And so I played Memory on YouTube for us tonight. And then I played these clips, and we were looking at each other like, oh my God. She lives here, and we'll probably meet her someday, because she's here. And he's like, I kind of think it would be an honor to meet Elaine Page. So I'm hoping that this is Elaine Page, but I don't know. I'm going to play it for you after this part and just see what what you guys think, but what a crazy, crazy night we had. I mean, it was like when we were laughing, the security guards are looking at us like all like, well, what are they up to? You know, like they're going to have to, you know, we're rabble rousers. We're going to have to be kicked out. And then something else happened. And then we started laughing again. And oh my God, the security guards started laughing so hard. And then we realized that everyone in the whole audience was laughing. Like it was like parts of the evening, not the Elaine Page part or the Caroline Kennedy part, because they are literally professionals that sang on stage, famous in their fields for singing, you know, opera and, you know, Broadway. And then a couple of people in the middle were amazing. And then the surgeon, he looked like a homeless dude, just walked off the street. It was so strange. I couldn't even record that. It was just so bad. Like, I was like, no, I can't subject any. I'm sad I got subjected to it. But what is this song? I'm trying to say. She sang, I think who it is Elaine Page, and she sang this song. Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got juju eyeballs, he went holy roller. You know that song? He wear no shoe shine, he got toe jam football, he got monkey finger, he shoot Coca-Cola, he say, I know you, you know me. You know that song? One thing I can tell you is, got to be free. So yeah, okay, yeah, that is John Lennon's. I just looked it up. So okay, at least she sang that, but she sang this Aquarius song, but she sang the Aquarius beginning, and then she made it a medley with that song and with another song, and then at the end she sang the Let the Sunshine In part, and it was like, oh yeah, that's right. And then in the middle there was another song where everyone is singing, and they said sing to this, and then none of the tempos were correct, none of the octaves or whatever were correct. Everyone was confused, everyone was singing different lyrics. We were all super confused. And it was freaking hilarious. It was hysterical. It was like not supposed to be a night of comedy. It was supposed to be like this tribute to musicians that have absolutely no connection to one another, except that maybe they cared about peace, like almost every other human being on the planet. And then they were born, well, I don't know, in the 1800s and then in 1940, but also October 9th and 10th. But so I got home and we were still confused, like, why would they put these two musicians together? It was very weird. You know, it was so random. And then I looked up their pictures, and this was really freaking weird. I want you guys, as a homework assignment, look up Giuseppe Verdi. Look at his picture. Look up John Lennon. Look at his picture. And they look like the same man from two different lifetimes. Like, John Lennon might have been Giuseppe Verdi in a past life. I mean, when you look at them, like, look really like around the eyes, look at the bone structure between the eye and the nose towards the center of the face. They both have long ass beards and long hair, and they both have like the same look. And it started to really freak me out. And I'm like, were we just like somehow shown in a weird, oddball, convoluted, insane way that these two people used to be like, it's the same soul? I don't know. I mean, we're still super confused by the night, but there was so many, like our friend Jordan, we were all singing wrong words completely. We all know the song Imagine. Everyone knows the song Imagine. We're sitting in a church singing No Religion too. And I'm like, oh my God, the church is there's gonna be an earthquake. The church is gonna fall on us and kill us for singing this in a church. I just know it. We were like laughing so hard. We're like, oh my God, this is not going to work out somehow. But we obviously survived it. My friend is like singing, imagine all the people living life as nudes. He literally said the word nudes, and my son and I didn't hear it until we got home and I listened to the clip. And it was so funny that my son, we were both laughing hysterically. We couldn't catch our breath for like 2 minutes, and my son fell to the ground laughing so hard, and like we were just like crying. We were laughing so hard. It was like there's something so odd and crazy about the evening that no one was singing any of the lyrics right. We weren't able to sing any of the song, the tempo, everything was off. Everything was off. And again, only the two super amazing, famous professionals from the United States were singing absolutely like mind-shatteringly good. But still, the tempo was off, even with them. Like, the tempo was like, it was too slow. My son's like, what? Why are all the songs so slow, you know? And I wasn't connecting with Carolyn Kennedy, even though her music was good. I just didn't have a connection at all. But when who I think is Elaine Page came on stage, I was like, oh my God. Like, it brought tears to my eyes how good she was. And I think it's the same person, because she brought tears to my eyes during the other thing. Yeah, I'm like looking at Giuseppe Verdi. I mean, seriously, put John Lennon's glasses on him. He's almost a dead ringer. Even their noses have the same shape. It's kind of freaking me out, actually. You know, John Lennon's hair is parted a little bit to the left of center, and Verdi parted his hair on the left. But, I mean, you could kind of see that they're the same guy. It's weird. Their eyes have the same quality, the same shape. Their eyebrows are the same. Remember we were talking about that in the Spirits book. We're reading about that on Monday, where it said that you could see it, especially around the eyes, from one body to the next, because the spirit has a quality that the body takes on from the energy of the spirit. And I'm like looking at this going, oh my God. I mean, yeah, so John Lennon was born in 1940, and Verdi was born in 1813. But I mean, it's insane. Like, what does an Italian opera composer have to do with a rock star from, like, Liverpool? Like, yeah. I don't know. But when you look at their pictures, is it just like two dudes with beards, and that's what we're going to just make a music, you know? I mean, is the next concert going to be two guys completely unrelated and unconnected that are bald? I mean, I don't know. It was such a strange night. Anyway, I mean, it started with a Duende, and then this night just got stranger and stranger. And then we went to a place called Angelo Tutto Freddo, I think it's called. Tutto And it's good. I mean, you know, it's I had a chicken Caesar Caesar chicken or chicken Caesar sandwich. And so I felt like that was going to have a lot of lettuce on it. And it had like 3 pieces of lettuce on each sandwich. And it was 3 pieces of bread cut diagonally. So it was like 3 pieces of bread with this stuff between each piece of bread. So I had to scrape everything off the bread. And everything was dry because I said no mayonnaise, thinking maybe they'll put mayonnaise in addition to the Caesar salad dressing. No Caesar dressing, no mayonnaise, thank God. And it was very dry, and then I just put the bread to the side, did not eat it, and bought a piece of chocolate cake. Hey, if I'm gonna have a cheat day, I'm not gonna cheat with white bread. So, anyway, but it was good though. Actually, it was okay. It was nice. It was like having a little salad, but like hardly any lettuce. I'm like, these people are not healthy at all. But back tomorrow to the keto diet again. This was a cheat day for me. Maybe Saturday's a cheat day. I'm going to go out with my other friend, but it was weird. It felt surreal to be out. And downtown looked normal. Everything looked fine. There was no signs that riots had ever occurred. And everybody was feeling kind of the energy out there with all the people. We're just kind of like we are getting ready to get back to normal, but we're relaxing, but we're tentative and a little bit hesitant and a little bit like we're overwhelmed with sadness still in a way that this even happened in our country, right? It's just this energy of, I can't believe everything's starting to get back. Everyone's getting back, but everyone is just recovering financially. Like none of the business made money for 2 weeks. Hardly anyone made money. People lost. I mean, I think it was like $1 billion around the country or something, but tomorrow, I'm not going to go over it today, but tomorrow I'll try to go over the statistics. I think they said that like 15 people died total, but I don't think I don't think they're even mentioning the 3 police officers that were kidnapped and murdered. And I don't think that might ever come out to the public. I mean, I'm not going to put it out there. I'm not going to put the video out that I've got. It's too gruesome. It's too disturbing. I can't even believe what I saw. And I knew that this kind of stuff happens like in the Mayan peoples and other tribes in Guatemala. You know, I knew it happened. And I talked to people who knew about people whose hands were cut off and people who were set on fire. Like, it's something that does happen. It's like, you know, indigenous justice, right? So if a man rapes one of the native women, it's like, sorry, that you get set on fire by the women. And it's legal. It's like, it's on the native land. It's just what happens. But I don't think anyone's going to count that those people, because they didn't technically die in the protest, so they're probably not going to really mention it. And I don't know if this is like something that was leaked from my friend's friend who's in the intelligence community, or I don't know. But I'm not going to leak it. I'm telling you guys about it because I thought it was common knowledge. But the more I think about it, the more I think maybe it really wasn't. And because I haven't seen not one thing on the news about it. And it wasn't something that came out on the news. The video I have it's like a private video. I think somebody was undercover and saw it. I don't know, but really crazy stuff, right? So, okay. The disclosure news people, they have just a teeny tiny bit in which their equipment was working. And most of their chart, when you look on their website, again, it's just black. It's just blackness. It's so strange. It says, still frozen at yesterday's image. Other sources report peaks for today at 20 hertz frequency. That's it. That's like their only report. The website's been down. It's been frozen. But what was weird to me is that the same thing had happened for 2 days at heartmath.org. HeartMath has more information now, though. All right, so they started off at midnight. California started off at 146 hertz frequency, and they were down to 138 by 4 a.m. And at midnight, Hafuf, Saudi Arabia was at 106 hertz frequency, and they went just to 107 4 hours later. Lithuania started off at 181, which is pretty high. They went down to 179 by 4 a.m. Alberta, Canada went from 138 at midnight to 145 at 4 a.m. And let's see here. And Northland, New Zealand started off at 74 hertz frequency at midnight, went down to 69 by 4 a.m. Now, the biggest number for today is Hulului, South Africa, they they start from 217 hertz frequency, and they were only down to 215 hertz frequency. Again, this is a Schumann resonance news by 4 a.m. Now, when the numbers are so high like this, we are absolutely affected. And my kid and I were talking about this today. Like, we went to this concert and everyone seemed like they're high out of their frickin' minds. People, like, there weren't like costumes, there wasn't anything. And at the very, very end of the medley song, the Let the Sunshine In part, so it was like the Age of Aquarius song and then 3 other songs medley, almost the full song, and then at the end the Let the Sunshine In part. And during that part, these native people came and they started dancing and holding their hands up, and they were doing a dance and twirling around, and then they put these colorful ponchos on and they started twirling, and so it was like really colorful. And I mean, it would have been better if I had been on acid, but it was like so beautiful. And then at the very, very, very end, and no one said this, but my son and I both gleaned that this young boy was the prince of the indigenous tribe from the coast. We looked at each other and were like, whoa, and we knew he was the prince. No one said a word, and he looked very regal, and he had a headdress with feathers, and he stood there, and then he did the power to the people thing with the fist raised, and then all of a sudden everything was done, and no one told us who he was. We don't know if he's a kid off the street that they dressed and told to act like this, or if he really was a prince of an indigenous tribe, and he wasn't from the same tribe as the other people that were dancing. And we were just like, what? Because the clothes were totally different, costume was totally different, and we were like, what is like, it was so confusing. We were like, oh, there's a prince. Okay, bye now. Everyone got up and walked out. And he just stood there with the power of the people thing on. And we're like, is this a performance? Is this like real? Is this like a local kid who dressed up like this? Or is this really a guy from the coast, a costeña? It was so weird. I don't even know. I seriously don't know. We are still 99 on the Ascension symptom scale. My higher guidance said it's soon that we're going to be fully anchored in. I'm thinking like by Sunday, we're going to all be anchored into the 5th dimension fully. People will still be waking up, though. It doesn't mean everyone's going to be awake and enlightened yet. But we're going to be anchored into the 5th dimension. And the numbers from Heart Math show that we're fully into it. But crazy, right? I hope this is all true. All right. In lesson 100 and... we're 28. I forgot to forward it to the next lesson. I'm still on lesson 121 or 127 on my notes. But so I don't know. I think Ascension symptoms are that people can't sing correctly. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Just pain, lower back, and a little bit mid back, and definitely neck and hip pain, and tinnitus in the right ear more than both ears, but definitely in both ears. Eye issues, eyesight issues, gaining water weight. If you are a holder of the light and you have to channel the energy through, that's still going on a little bit. Not as much as before. Being foggy, not mentally clear. You know, all the things I've been mentioning this week that I've been experiencing, I think that's pretty much what other people, when I talk to other people, it's like other people are confused, like confusion. You know, when the Schumann resonance is so high, it does mentally confuse you. It's because it was 7.83 hertz frequency for like hundreds of years, they think. Like, they don't think there was hardly any fluctuations. But now that we have a crack in the magnetosphere and the sun is sending all this energy to us, it's like reaching us in a way that it's affecting the ionosphere, which is between the surface of the earth and the upper atmosphere. And the Hertz frequency that I talk of in the Schumann resonance, that is the energy, the frequency that is measured. And that's usually 7.83 Hertz. It's usually a very low frequency. And lately it's been extremely high. And we've been just having these cosmic naps. Have you ever just been everything's normal and all of a sudden you're just oh, I gotta go sleep. And then you take a quick little cat nap and 20, 30 minutes later you wake up and you almost feel like a whole day has gone by, and then you realize it's only been 20 minutes. You're like, whoa. I've had timeline hops lately, 2 or 3 in the past few days. I think that today I had a timeline hop. I was watching Outlander while I was having my coffee before I got ready for the day to do all the things. So I just sat down for a few minutes to watch the second half of one of those episodes. And then as I sat down, I had 100% charge on my phone, and I just felt like this cosmic nap energy come over me, wash over me, and I kind of got the feeling that I just hopped timelines. I went up a timeline, and I looked at my phone, and it was on 1%. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? It's been freaking 1 minute. How could it go from it was 98% to 1 in 1 minute? It's crazy. It's I'm looking at now, it's my phone is now at 46% and it started off at 48% a half hour ago. So see, that's normal. It's normal. So a lot of weird stuff with batteries and electronics and things stopping and starting, and the internet's suddenly going out and then coming back on. Or a lot of apps saying that there is no internet when other apps say there is. A lot of, not just in one phone, but if you have 2 or 3 phones, or you have, a laptop and a Chromecast and all the different things, they're all going to be acting up. All electronics are acting up because of the magnetosphere. I haven't looked lately if we've been bombarded lately or not. I know a lot of people have been concerned about asteroids. There's been a lot of talk about that lately, and what NASA's doing to prevent one from slamming into Earth. So that is other kind of talk. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the street in Barcelona also. I'm going to see what I can see about that tomorrow to report a little bit more on it if there's more news. But there's riots and people are going crazy and setting things on fire in Barcelona right now. It's one of the top stories right now. In Catalan, tens of thousands of protesters facing off against police in the third night of violence. So basically, they're picking up where we just left off. Ecuador finished 12 days of riots. Today would have been the 14th day, and yesterday there was peace on the 13th day, which was the day that Columbus discovered America, and which he didn't discover. People were already here. Biggest lie ever. And then all of a sudden, because of that, all the Spaniards came here. And now the Spaniards in Spain are setting cars on fire. They're attacking police because they sentenced 9 pro-independence leaders. So they were put in prison and they are seeking independence and they're not getting it, I guess. Projectiles have been fired at helicopters. They're having running battles with police. Everything has just been set on fire. These pictures are insane. They're almost as insane as the pictures from here. They look a little bit more violent, although we actually had a lot of bombs go off the past couple days of the riots. I'm going to have more information on these stories tomorrow. I'll have more of the aftermath while all the agencies are now able to report and all the things are getting together, and they have how many people died in our riots and everything. But like Spain, I don't know. And the Spanish Prime Minister says we will not be provoked by the Catalonia violence. Well, we'll see. We'll see how many days he can take of that. Because our president said he was never going to back down, and he did. It took him 12 days. And he's like, okay, gonna back down now. Anyway, Course in Miracles, we're on lesson 128, and this is what the main idea is. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Totally perfect for right now, right? The world I see holds nothing that I want. So let's see what else. Let's see. One of the examples of looking at this is protect your mind throughout the day. When you think you see some value in an aspect or an image of the world, refuse to lay this chain upon your mind. Tell yourself with quiet certainty, this will not tempt me to delay myself. The world I see holds nothing that I want. All right, guys. When I come back, I am going to do a channeling with Brother Yeheshua. I think about the Ascension. Yeah, he's telling me it is. He's here with me. All right, we're going to come back in a minute and do that. But first, I'm going to play, a couple ads and then a couple clips from tonight because, seriously, it was an insane night. Wasn't that happy birthday just freaking hilarious? All right, I'm going to share the confusion with you guys. If you get any weird insights about what the hell, but you got to look at this. Giuseppe Verdi and John Lennon, I swear to God, same spirit, 2 different times. I know it's the same guy. It's so trippy looking at their pictures. I mean, I wonder if you could take it to face recognition technology and put them side by side. Like, would they even look like they're related? This is so weird. All right, I'll be back after this message. These messages and these weird clips. All right. And notice, it's hilarious. Notice how the crow, just crowed in the middle of the clips. What's really bizarre about that is I did not have an internet connection. And so why was I getting the crow cawing when I was getting absolutely nothing in my feed? I was getting no notifications. It was almost like my phone was rebelling and randomly saying the crow sound. Like the crows were circling and we're all they were like, okay, this concert is dead. I don't know. I'm playing you the very best clips too, by the way. All right, after this. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. Alright guys, I'm here with Brother Yeheshua. We're already connected. I'm an indirect channel, so I'm going to use telepathy as a means of communication. I don't allow spirits to take over my body, so I'm called an indirect channel. And that's it. My voice got really weird, and I've been for 2 hours trying to get it all back. So hopefully this is just a temporary thing. I don't even know what happened. It just happened all of a sudden. I ate a spoonful of coconut oil, so I don't know if that did it or not. Very weird. So, all right. When you tap your forehead and you say Ki Ah Sha, that helps you to open your third eye. So I'm going to do that right now in case Brother Yeheshua gives me a visual image and I could receive that telepathically. And I can anyway, but this just kind of helps me focus it more. So you could do this if you're not driving a vehicle. You close your eyes and you touch your forehead lightly and you say, Ki Ah Sha, Ki Ah Sha, Ki Ah Sha. And you focus on your third eye. You stop touching it and it expands and makes your head throb a little bit. It's pretty cool. Okay. Brother Yeheshua, am I connected to you? Answer. Muscle testing says yes. All right, you may begin your transmission now. Greetings to all of my brothers and sisters of the light. I am very pleased with the progress you have been making. You have been really working hard and have done an incredible job. I wish to address you all this week in regards to the next phase of the Ascension plan of the divine will. We are all here on the other side, just always on your side, rooting for you. We want you to know how much we care. We are very concerned about you at all times. But when I say this, I mean concerned in a good way. You are truly blessed to live at this time and experience exactly what humanity is going through now. This is an unprecedented time in history. You already know that. You've been given this information before in a multitude of ways by a multitude of other beings and light workers and the like. Sometimes these things are worth repeating so that you understand just how precious and special you are, and also how unique your situation. We wish to transmit to you, and not just me, but many divine masters of the light surround me, and as well surround you too. We wanted to let you know that this is the week. You have arrived. And it's imperative that you note that just because everyone is anchoring into the fifth dimension this week does not mean that you are fully enlightened or that you are spiritual masters yet. If you wish to become spiritual masters, you will have a lot more work to do. But in the fifth dimension, it shall be easier. I don't want you to wake up one day and have the realization, I'm in the fifth dimension, I must be enlightened completely now. Because if you have to ask and you know for a fact, then you know for a fact that you're not. But we wish you all to know that you are well on your way to being that which you seek on a spiritual level. You are going to learn how to control and manipulate your environment, and it's going to at first seem magical, but I assure you this comes from a deep and hidden form of science. It's a branch that has not been officially discovered yet. In time it will. It will have a name and be labeled and studied like all other areas of your science. We call it the holy science, at least in my circle of friends and spiritual masters. So that will come into your life soon and open up your world in a way in which you're not even going to recognize your current life as opposed to your life even 1 year ago. Where you're headed, you cannot begin to even imagine. We are here for you, even though you might not be able to hear our voices or see us or hold our hands. We want you to understand that we are still here for you. We're able to look into everybody's life through the Akashic records, and when you call upon us to help you, we are constantly working on that. We wish to let you know that we are sending a dark purple light your way, a dark purple energy your way. What this is going to do for you is cleanse every cell, your aura, your chakras, every cell in your body. It's going to cleanse you of all toxins. You may feel, for a couple days at least, a little bit under the weather. You can consider this to be kind of like an Ascension flu, but it's an Ascension flu that will only last a couple days. You will get back to normal really quickly. You will recover really rapidly from this. If you've already worked on your body and your mind and your chakras and all that, you're not going to have as hard a time as those who have ignored the warnings when we have come and told you you need to meditate, you need to eat right and go to sleep right and work on yourself. A lot of you are doing most of these things, and there's still room for improvement. So please keep trying to work on yourselves in this way. We care a great deal about you. You know, we're not just here to listen to your prayers and try to solve your problems. That's not, even though we try to send you energy and light and try to help you in ways that we can, that's not our sole purpose here in your world and in your lives. Our biggest purpose is to help you wake up and to become spiritual masters that we know you are and will be soon. We're not going to use the word that you can be, because that implies possibly you can't be spiritual masters. And in this day and age, with the lifting of yourselves up into the fifth dimension, it is beyond impossible that you can't become a spiritual enlightened master at this point. You are well on your way, on your path, and you've already entered several doors on this journey. So you are considered brave, and you're held in highest esteem in the other side. We are always sending you love and light and beaming you energy, and we're championing for each and every one of you. We know who you are, and we do see your struggles, and we want you to understand that you are not alone, no matter what you believe, what you think, no matter what your subconscious mind programming is telling you based on your experiences in the past, in which you had the false illusion matrix as a form of fake vision goggles. But now we see on a spiritual level that your bodies are clear. Your minds are becoming cleansed. Everything is getting lighter in density. You are becoming the rainbow warriors that we know you to be. We say rainbow because when you look at your skin under the sun, even with a magnifying glass application on your phone, you'll be able to see this so clear that you are of a different structure than even you were 2 or 3 months ago. You are in the process of ascension to a completely different way of existence. At this point, we're not asking you to quit your day job and spend all your savings to travel to a more spiritual place. We're not asking you that at all. In fact, what we would like you to understand is that it is important to love and accept yourself wherever you are. And when it's ready, the divine timing is ready, you're going to meet the next person you're meant to be with. It's all automatic. It's all pre-planned and premeditated. It's really important that you understand that the majority of the things you've gone through in your life are also premeditated. You chose these things before you came into this world. Like going into such a deep trance, it's like hard to communicate. Sorry about that, guys. Let me undeepen myself a little bit. Okay. All right. We wish you to focus on the frequencies and energies of things that bring you feelings of great joy, happiness, safety, and security. This is important. We want you to be happy. We don't want you to focus on negative energies, negative emotions. We don't wish you to focus or dwell on the past or to focus on the future that isn't here yet. We wish you to cleanse your minds, your bodies, yourselves. We want you to be open and free with your ability to love others. If you feel like it's hard, we want you to start small and work on it. Try to love yourself. Try to love a houseplant. Try to love the neighbor's pet. Start small until you raise your vibration so high that you're able to love everybody on earth at once. After you have done that exercise, that will expand you in ways you cannot begin to imagine. We are sending each and every one of you light codes and energy to help anchor yourselves into the ascension. You will feel kind of like a blanket of energy surrounding your feet in the coming 3 to 6 days. This is going to help you anchor into the 5th dimension. We'd like to call these pillows of love because to us they look like pink pillows that are surrounding your feet. This energy is going to hold you and anchor you into the 5th dimension. We are going to hook you into the 5th dimension and unhook you from the 3rd dimension if you have any ties left to the 3rd dimension. This doesn't mean that everything is changing and unawakened ones are going to disappear. That doesn't mean that at all. Everyone that you know now will be there in 5 days. Everyone's going to be the same. Everything is going to be the same for the most part. But the sleeping ones around you will be more, they'll be starting to awaken. They might first mention a movie, a song, or a book that seems more spiritual than they normally are. They'll start with things that are slow, and then eventually they will start asking you questions. We are hoping that you are able to provide the answers for them because you've been paying attention to the spiritual things that come your way. But if not, you need to refer them to books, people, circumstances, situations, even like radio shows, podcasts, YouTube, about the topics that they are currently learning about. For example, if someone becomes awakened and they're interested in astral projection, then you have to find a book or someone that they could study under, or a radio show or a podcast, something of the like that will teach them all about astral projection, and that will lead them to the next thing they're interested in. Every person who is awakening ends up being interested in different topics. In some cases, you're going to have to think upon your feet if you have many people who are awakening all around you at once. If you feel overwhelmed, then we're going to ask you, especially if you feel guided to do so, that you need to connect with your spiritual team. You may contact me. I don't care about your religion one way or the other, so we don't want you to feel like you can't call upon me because I'm from a different supposed religion than you are. A lot of people assume that I was Christian in life. I wasn't, because Christianity did not exist. So we don't want you to have any emotional hang-ups about working with me, especially when it comes to spiritual things, because I wasn't the religion that everyone says I am. We will give you strength, we will give you energy, we will give you the right movies or TV shows or books or whatever it is that you need. We're going to give it right to you in your path, especially when other people start asking you. So don't worry, have faith that everything that you need to know is coming your way really, really rapidly, really quickly. We are your support team. You have your own spiritual teams, of course. You need to activate that in case you are not already doing that. We are your support team, your extra support right now. There's somebody that we've been listening to that keeps saying there's ground crew. There are a lot of people are saying this. There's the space crew and the ground crew and interdimensional crew. Some people are seeing this as if you are teammates on a ship. We like this metaphor. You may use it if you like. But most of you that are already awake enough to help the sleeping ones. For the most part, you're like our ground crew. You're helping us help you. And we're helping you more and more every day. We are hoping that you will call upon us and ask us for our help as often as you need. Maybe even every day, even if you don't need. We're going to steer you in directions that will help you understand that we're there. We will give you signs. Sometimes you'll find a white feather in your path. Sometimes you will find a penny, especially if you're concerned about money. You'll find little bits of money. You might find a quarter or a dime or a penny in your path. It's a sign from us that we are here. We're listening to your needs. We're anticipating and helping you. Especially those of you who do not have much in your life. You don't have jobs or a means to support yourself. We're going to start sending more support. We're going to be able to much easier when you get anchored in the fifth dimension. Things become easier as you go up in rungs and in dimensions. And that is exactly and precisely what you, as all of humanity, are doing right now. We are seeing that many of you have fractionalized, we won't say your soul, but more like your psyche. Bits and pieces of your minds are distracted by the past or traumatic events that took place. We urge you at this time to let everything go in your past. Forgive the situation and circumstance if you find it impossible to forgive the person that caused pain and suffering in your life. We're trying to get you to a position in which you can enter a room and love everybody there, regardless of any actions they may or may not have done. We're trying to get you to a situation where you are the shining light bulb in the room. You are the bright one in the room. So call upon us like this. Dear spiritual team, please help me. And then you may describe or explain the thing that you need help with. That's it. So easy. It's so easy. You just have to ask us. You have to believe and have faith that we're there, because we are. We're here. We love you. Well, guys, I'm getting in such a deep trance. I'm going to have to go, because I'm going to start falling asleep if I don't. So, Brother Yeheshua, is there anything else you need to add to this? He says, no, not at this time. We'll come back again and talk more and more. He's saying that if any of you have any questions, you can ask me directly, or actually just ask me directly, because what will happen is if I don't have an answer, I will just connect with Brother Yeheshua. He just told me he's willing to help us all. In many cases, just automatically. He says that sometimes when people are enlightened masters, they work tirelessly, day and night. But a lot of people who achieve a certain level of what they believe to be enlightenment, usually it's just, Kundalini awakening or something. It's not necessarily meaning that you are enlightened. But a lot of times people will stop their spiritual growth because they think, oh, hey, look at me, I've arrived. I've got telepathy and intuition. And they stop learning and growing spiritually. So we're urging you at this time to never stop growing, never stop trying to expand and never stop trying to understand the deeper mysteries of this life. All right. He says, we wish to go at this time, but realize that even if we say in this moment that we're going, if you call upon me or any of my colleagues, other ascended masters, even what you consider to be gods or goddesses, those energies are available to assist you on an individual basis. Not everybody can handle the idea or concept of God, but maybe you can understand the concept of lesser goddesses or gods. So if you call upon Apollo or Zeus or Lord Ganesha, whatever energy feels right for you, those are the energies you need to connect with. Many of you will just say, I need to connect with Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, help me in my journey that I may feel loved and protected and safe. And at the same time, please help me in my understanding and deepening of my spiritual progress. Or you could ask me, Brother Yeheshua, or Mother Mary, or any number of people for clarification. Alright guys, I'm starting to go into very deep trance here, so where I'm just communing with him directly and the words aren't coming because I go beyond words. Normally I don't get to this level. This is really deep. Plus I think we're having the cosmic nap situation too. Plus I've been up all night and I'm tired a little bit. So, okay. Anything else you want to add? He says, no, just understand that we are always here for you. All you have to do is ask. Say, spirit guides, spirit teams, holy guardian angels, come help me, bring me comfort, and we will, in a heartbeat. We'll give you gentle and beautiful signs. It might be a bunny rabbit hopping across your path, or fluffy white clouds in the sky that seem to spell out words or give you a letter or a number. Whatever your question is on your mind, we will continue to give you the gentle signs like the white feather in your path, as I already mentioned, or maybe a friend will give you a pretty crystal or a really pretty rock. That's a sign that we're there with you, always. You're going to start to be put on all the correct paths, meet all the correct people this time. There's not going to be any further delays or obstacles in your life, in your day-to-day life. If you need clothing and you need to go shopping, for example, you're not going to have a hard time finding a parking space, and then everything's going to be so much more expensive than you can afford, and then, maybe nothing fits you, for example, that would be a typical third dimensional style experience. But what we know to be true is that very soon, everything in your life is going to be made easy. So taking this example, you'll be able to, take a bus that doesn't make that many stops because it makes your path easier to go. Or maybe you are driving a car and you get there and there's a parking space right there where you need it. And you get into the store and everything will fit you. And it'll be for less money. And you might feel delighted and surprised that suddenly everything is going your way. And that's exactly true. That's exactly what's going to happen. Pretty soon everything will go your way. Life is going to become much, much easier. Your bodies will become less dense. You will require less food. In the beginning, you're going to require more sleep. Once you get used to the denseness being lighter and fluffier, as some of you might call it, you're actually going to require less sleep as well. You're going to start to rejoice in the little things, the simple parts of life. You might find great pleasure and joy walking in the rain, turning your countenance to the sun. Any number of ways that before would give you a little bit of a thrill, a little happiness. It's going to be very profound coming soon. We want you to be aware when it does happen. Some other warnings or ideas, thoughts, whatever you want to call it. Stay away from things that would lower your vibration. Includes smoking, heavy-duty drugs that destroy your mind and body, such as cocaine. We want you to stop all the things that you do. If you're drinking wine with dinner, that's okay. If you're drinking, 2 or 3 bottles a night, you need to stop that. All the bad habits that hold you back spiritually and keep your emotions at bay, because your emotions are going to play a big part, a huge role in your life. It's through your emotions that you're going to understand what direction you're headed in. If your emotions are rage and anger, you know that you're headed backwards. If your emotions are joy and happiness, hopefulness, then these emotions are going to serve you and propel you farther along your ascension path, as well as basically everything in your life. They're showing me levels of psychological, emotional, physical, every possible way. So every time you feel joy, for example, or love, that's going to propel you further along your path. And if you feel a temporary moment of anxiety or sadness or depression or fear, it's not going to last anymore. In the 5th dimension, these things do exist, but they very rarely last. And everything becomes more paved your way, more clear as you go along. You don't need apparatuses outside yourself, so you don't need to keep a journal or do rituals or light candles in a certain manner. You don't have to worry about pretty much anything anymore like that. You're going to learn how to control everything from the power of inside your mind. And that's a real good place to be. All right, that's all I have to say about that. I love all of you. I am like a big brother to all of you. And he's saying especially to you, little sister, and that's what he's always called me. Okay. He just told me in French, you do always have a reason to live. So that's a special message for some of you that needed to hear that at this time. All right, well, there you have it. All right, guys, I love each and every one of you. I want to thank you for being on the Ascension journey with me, with all of us as a collective whole. Remember that as soon as you climb up to the top of the mountain, it's time for you to reach back down behind you and grab the hand of the next person that is just beginning to awaken, and you can help them achieve everything they want as far as spiritual ideas are concerned. Reach down that mountain, grab the hand, lift people up. That's the mountain is there for. We all climb together. No human being left behind. Yay! All right. Again, I love you guys. Please send in your ghost stories. We have less than 2 weeks now for Metaphysical Ghost Speak. We want to hear your spooky stories. Also, Santa Claus stories, Christmas miracles, Diwali or Hanukkah miracles. It's not really about the religion as much as the miracles. So if you've had anything special happen around the holidays, at any time of your life, at any age of your life or stage, we want to hear about it. The Christmas miracles are really powerful. It's going to help a lot of people. If you've ever seen Santa Claus, that's going to give people hope. Because I know St. Nicholas is real. St. Nicholas of Padua. He was a real person. And I think that his spirit flies around on Christmas Eve for real. And I want to know if you guys have seen him. All right. That's it, guys. I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys. Peace. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.